What do you think are the main challenges?
Made a difference in
What does it mean to be
very important.
150 years of humanitarian action? Lots of organisations talk about empowering communities, but what concretely do you do at the Serbian Red Cross to empower the communities that you work with?
Generally, Red Cross and Red Crescent work offers many opportunities to empower the communities. We try to raise the awareness on the need of the disaster preparedness and disaster response in many communities, and we form the teams for disaster response, for example, in 146 communities in Serbia. They are the first ones to be in the place and to react and to assist people when needed.
What role do volunteers play in empowering the communities?
They play a crucial role, as the biggest strength of our movement is practically volunteer work, as we mobilize thousands of hours of non-paid, skilled work in order to provide services to vulnerable people.
What sort of vulnerable groups do they work with?
They work with all the vulnerable groups that are many in our society, like socially vulnerable people, poor people, beneficiaries of soup kitchens. Majority of them are people who have lost their jobs and cannot support their families. 1/3 of beneficiaries are children below the age of 18. And we also have elderly as a specifically vulnerable group in our society.
If we take the example of the elderly, are you seeing that their vulnerability is increasing? And what sort of projects do you have which can empower those people?
Their vulnerability has been increased, especially due to this bad economic situation, to the fact that pensions are low, to the fact that their relatives and friends do not have sufficient time to devote to them, to pay attention to them, to talk to them and to resolve their problems. I must say that majority of those volunteers are elderly people, who many of them used to be also beneficiaries to our program. The main benefit they get from being involved in the program is reduced risk of depression, because they create mutual trust with the members of the society. They build social ties and they feel very useful.
Can you give me an example?
I will only give you the example of a telephone helpline for elderly people in our branch, big branch of Kragujevac, where 13 elderly volunteers wait for phone calls of elderly people in need every day for 4 hours in a time which is known to everyone.
What lessons would you have for other Red Cross national societies on empowering communities?
I come from a very turbulent society, political turbulence, poverty, lack of trust of poor people in institutions, what institutions can do for them. So how do you attract them? How do you show that you are worthwhile? How do you make them trust in you? And we found out that that is a very clear presentation of our identity. Always promotion of the fundamental principles and never forgetting who we are. No too much flirting with the commercial companies, never losing the identity, and that's how they trust you, and the quality of performance, which defines the Red Cross practically.